And today I kind of want to talk a little bit about what happened when you get into this focus on the outcome, this feeling of, controlling, like doing all of this so that you can get the outcome that you want. But the truth is we can't control the outcome. And so during the process of trying to achieve the end result, you get anxious. You build up a lot of fear and anxiety. It happens all the time. What we want actually is the opposite. We want to be focused. We want to be inspired. We want to be energized. We want to be driven. We want to be passionate about what we're doing. And so what I really want to talk today to get to you guys today about is pretty much attachment or detachment, right? The issue of attachment or the concept of knowing how to detach from things. And so this concept, it's been around for a while. Yeah. Okay. It's been a while for a long time, thousands of years, but Deepak Chopra, he's this, I guess, meditation philosopher guy. And he wrote this book called The Seven Spiritual Law of Success. Interesting book. Tony Robbins talks about him. I saw his YouTube. I follow his content. I read Seven Spiritual Law of Success. So you can check him out too as well. But however, this concept of detachment or the process of detachment has been taught through spiritual teaching like Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, many other religions and philosophy out there, like Stoic philosophy. It existed for a very long time, thousands of years. And the key to happiness is detachment. So in Chinese, I'm not Chinese, but my wife is, but I just want to share that in Chinese, the word detachment, because some languages, just remember, some language, they write the words differently. In English, we just hear detachment, but in Chinese, it's nu wu nian. I mean, hopefully I did not butcher that word. But if you're Chinese, you can correct me, but it means no thought. And of course, there's further detail on what it means, but overall, when you have no thoughts, you're separating your own thoughts and your own opinion so that it doesn't mentally harm you and emotionally harm you. Right? So there's this quote, and no thoughts mean you're not thinking about it. That's really what detachment is, no thoughts. So there's this quote by Taoism philosophy. It says, fame or self, which matter more? Self or wealth, which is more precious? Gain or loss, which is more painful? He who is attached to things will suffer much. He who saves will suffer heavy loss. A content man is rarely disappointed. He who knows when to stop does not find himself in trouble. He will stay forever safe. That is a lot to take in. Honestly, it's really focusing on being content. But it sounds very passive, right? Detachment and contentment sounds very passive, like very unfeeling, like a suppression of feeling. Who who really wants to be detached? It's like, hey, you're escaping the emotion. You don't want to talk about the emotion. But the truth is, it's the opposite, right? Detachment doesn't mean like no passion or lack of passion or lack of commitment or desire. It simply means doing something with full effort, with love and passion, without getting attached to the end result of the action or outcome that you want. Sounds easy, right? Who here can detach very easily? Who here? And I'm not talking about detachment. Okay, a lot of us believe detachment. So just think about a garbage can, right? Everybody got a garbage can in their house, right? Everybody does. Some got big ones, some got small ones. Some of us got bigger ones, bigger garbage can. And you know what happens when the garbage can gets full? You push it down. You put more trash in and you keep pushing it down to the trash overflows and it stinks up the house. Kind of like your body or your mind. You keep suppressing the emotion, and that's not it. Detachment is not about pushing down the emotion. It's not about continuing to pile up all this feeling that you have. No, it's about removing yourself from the outcome. That's really it. And it's totally opposite from removing your feelings. And it's really hard to practice daily. It is hard. practicing, detachment. But I didn't know this, but I was doing this during my growth journey when I was like 17, 18. I was doing this after reading books, meditating, doing affirmations. I was learning to how to detach. I mean, it was hard, but when you have like 5, 6 years to practice this, it gets easier. Now, doesn't mean you're letting go of your desire. Doesn't mean you let go of your dreams. Doesn't mean you let go of your goals or your intention. Just focus on letting go of the outcome, letting go of trying to control the future. That's hard. I get it. We all want to control the future, but the truth is we can't. That's the reality. Accept that. So when you detach to the outcome, guess what happened? You're no longer bound or tied to the result from those actions. You're now free to be able to do whatever you want, to be able to be empowered to take, aligning action that align with what you want to get done. And your self-worth is not tied to that. Who's here grew up attaching their self-worth to outcome, to getting A's, to making good grades, to going to college, to getting a good job? Raise your hand. I know you guys are attached your self-worth to that. Why? Because your parents made you. Put that belief inside of you. You're attached to the outcome. You're attached to the result. So your self-worth is attached to that. And if you don't get that, you're a failure. You're a failure if that outcome doesn't happen. That's a scary thought. Your self-worth is attached to the outcome. And when that happens, think about how much anxiety that caused, how much fear that caused, how much like draining negative worries that builds up. Like, yes, there is some pressure, there's stress, but man, it's overwhelmingly negative stress. There's positive stress, and then there's negative stress. There's stress that you choose to do on purpose, and then there's stress that you do not want because it's so negative that drains you and it just destroy your progress. So in simple terms, it's the process of just letting go of the end results. That's all I want you guys to understand, so that you can have the ability, the power to achieve your best results. So why is this so important? Because if you get too attached to the outcome, you lose sight of the present moment that requires your immediate action or attention. Remember, being attached to the future you cannot control, there is a level of fear that happens. And some people cannot handle the fear. Who here handles fear very well? Raise your hand if you have amazing, like a fear response, like you just know what to do. Like when you get fearful, you're like, I don't care. Okay, I don't. Okay, I see one person. All right, I believe you. Only one. If it was like 10 of you guys, I'm like, that's doubtful. I'm gonna be honest. Like I used to what I used to didn't work very well with fear. What I did was I suppressed the fear, and that wasn't a very good way to handle fear. I used to run away from fear. I used to suppress it, and I used to do things that put me in place to where I was like, okay, I'm fearful, so now I'm gonna act out. Like I used to get beat up. So what I ended up doing, I got angry and I was always fearful. So I put myself in a place that made me more fearful because I wanted to not have that feeling. And that was my way of handling fear. And so some of us, we get crippled by it. And and being fearful of a future we can't control, well, it cripples us in the present. We can't move, we can't take action, we feel lost, we feel drained. Some of you guys might get angry, irritated like I did. Might get frustrated when things don't work out the way you want it to. So to get everything you want in life, you need to have a sound mind, clear focus, and the energy to take action. That's the point of this whole thing. Is every Monday we hear, every time we talk to each other, is how do I get you guys to take more action? Because that's the only thing you got. That's the only thing you have. You have the energy to take action. And living in an uncertain future and just staying there, because that's what it is. Trying to control the future is like focusing on the outcome of the future is literally you putting yourself in the future and wanting for it to happen and stressing about it, and it's not happening. And it's painful because The past, think about the past, the regret drains your energy. Think about the future drains your energy. So now you're living in all these negative emotions, fear, anxiety, worries, anger, jealousy, envy, insecurity, lack of, things, scarcity. All that is draining you, draining your energy, and it's going to impact your life. It's going to increase your stress level. And sometimes you don't even know it. You don't know why you're so frustrated. You don't know why you're so angry. And if it's not resolved, what's going to happen? It's going to keep building up. And then eventually you're going to break down. So just think about this. Let's just say you're going on a trip with your friends or family, right? The plan was to arrive at airport at 3 p.m. on Monday. You get through custom, board the plane, arrive to your destination, and have an amazing time with your family when you get there. You have fun sightseeing, eating the local foods, exploring the new environment, meeting the people. So on the day of the flight, things went as planned. You show up early. You wait for the flight attendants to show up. You stood in line with 10 heavy bags. And you know what? The unimaginable happened. There was a mess up in your visa. Right? There was a minor error in one of the visas. And so now you got to leave one of your family members behind. Sorry. Bye-bye. Just us now. We're going to have a good time. How did this happen? Now you're scrambling. You're tripping out. You're trying to figure things out. You're trying to get things resolved. And also, you could lose thousands of dollars because you just spent a bunch of money on non-refundable flights because you don't believe in the extra $200 insurance. Right? I believe it's a scam. So now you're angry, you're anxious, you're stressed, you're freaking out. You're like the trip is ruined. And you're just frustrated over this little mistake that happened. And you're gonna be missing your flight. And it's like, oh my God, they're boarding and you're not going anywhere. Things did not go as planned. So this happened to me. Right? This happened to me when I went on my Vietnam trip with my family. It was a terrible experience. I did not want to leave my little daughter, my oldest daughter, actually. I did not want to leave her behind, but we were freaking out. We had to figure out what to do. But that time window was so tight, I couldn't figure it out because there were like little people were boarding. Near the end of the day, nobody's working. I'm calling every single visa agency that I knew. I called the connect that I had. Nobody could solve the issue. And oh my God, my wife was freaking out, super frustrated, super angry. There was a whole wave of emotion. Right? Like you go from like, okay, optimistic. The next thing you know, oh, doubt, fear, anxiety, now just anger. So it was just like a wave of emotion she was going through. And it seemed like we were gonna give up. Honestly, I wasn't gonna give up. I was just like, you know what? No matter what happened, it'll be okay. We'll figure it out. But some of us can't respond that way. I was used to responding that way. But fortunately, a miracle happened after speaking with Justin. He got his connect to work with us, helped us out at the airport, got a new plane the next day, didn't cost us a dime. They just move our flights around. And, it's a miracle. And I'm thankful for Justin for helping me out during that time. That was an amazing thing that happened. And of course, I need to talk to that guy too. I need to follow up with him to not pay him, but take him out to eat. Just show how grateful I was for what he did. I'm still grateful for that. But during that time, like if I didn't practice having this calmness to be able to just have clear mind, like just ask anyone who can help and just let go of the outcome that I want. Because either way, we're gonna figure it out. Instead of stressing, getting angry, because I know some of you guys who here will get angry and start yelling. Or who here, raise your hand, yeah. Who here would just close off and just don't talk to anybody? Like you don't want to talk to nobody. I'm like, get away from me. But it happens. Some of us respond in different ways, but when you have a clear, collected mind, you make the whole trip better because the truth is, I could have created, if it was me in that situation and I didn't have a clear mind and I was an emotional wreck, I would have ruined that whole experience for my whole family. My kids would have this terrible experience. They never want to go on a trip with us ever again. My wife would have been pissed off. My parents would have been like, annoyed. I'm gonna disown you because you're just acting crazy at the airport. I might have gotten arrested. Who knows, right? You never know what's gonna happen if I was overreactive and crazy. So the reason why we have to start learning how to train this daily, you learn how to detach from the outcome. It creates peace, calmness, and it inspires and empowers you to take action. When you detach from the outcome, you let the universe or God decide what will happen next. I just said, no matter what happened, I prayed. I was like, God, I trust you. I know things are going to work out. No matter what happened, it's going to work out. It's going to work out the way you want it to work out. And that's what I did. You don't believe in God, it's okay too. But you do believe in the universe. It doesn't matter. All of you guys here have been exposed to some religious belief. And at the end of the day, it's all come down to God. So believe in something. So choose to believe in something because that's what's going to help you get through the hard things. And so learning how to accept uncertainty will give you that peace. You guys know people who get stuck into analysis paralysis, right? Analysis paralysis. Like they don't do anything. They just think a lot. They're stuck in their mind all the time. They overthink, and the unknown drives them crazy and drains them immensely. And so when you focus on doing your best in the moment, that's the opposite. You're able to take action in the moment to go after the dream that you want trying to create. And so instead of focusing on the outcome of not, and the outcome, honestly, you don't know what's going to happen or not. You put effort in what you know can happen. And so that's why this skill is so important because it allows you to become less sensitive to unknown situation. You don't react, you respond. The goal in all of this is for you to take action. So now let's talk about what's the opposite of detachment. That is attachment. And I have attachment problems in the past. I learned to understand that. I reflect a lot and I realized a lot of my life I was attached. Like if you think about this, all the actions you take in your life, you've been attached to something. Think about it. What have you been attached to that caused you to take certain action? How did you live your life when you're attached to something? Who did you attach yourself to? Or who you kept seeking attachment from? Because for me, there was a big part of my life where I was always attached to seeking approval from people. So I attached myself to others. I attached myself to others more than outcome, actually. Well, the outcome was I would like people to, like me because I grew up not having a lot of self-worth, a lot of insecurities. So if you think about it, if you reflect right now, where in your life did you attach a lot of yourself to? And also, some of us attach to images, our reputation, making six figures on your launch, selling 2,000 units in 30 days, five-star reviews. You attach to the five-star reviews. You attach to, nice clothes, branded things. You attach to your job, your career. You attach to your parents' approval. So think about that. Why is it important? Because that's what you don't want to do. When you attach to the result, most of the time it's only going to have to be acceptable if the outcome doesn't happen, right? If it's not acceptable, not the outcome you want, everything else becomes a failure. So now you identify yourself as a failure. And so when you repeat that story over and over and over in your mind, you believe and you become a person that's a failure or not good enough, not acceptable. And this brings back all that negative emotion that comes up, stress, worries, anger, depression. It's so tiring to be depressed. It's never really, like, I feel like the word itself is like passive, like depression is like passive. And so it's like a draining of energy. Like I have never seen a depressed, excited person. I have never seen a depressed, excited person ever in my life. Like if you guys can prove me wrong, if you met someone who is depressed and excited, let me know. It's not sustainable. So all this negative emotion drains you. And so when you attach to things, right now, I want you to think about who or where are you attaching yourself towards? It's not a sustainable way to thrive. both in your personal life and in your business. And business in itself is already an emotional cycle. We know that. It's already an emotional cycle. It's stressful, your mind mentally, physically you get stressed, spiritually sometimes you get stressed. You get stressed in your relationship as well. And to be honest, a lot of us are highly sensitive. We're sensitive creatures. We're emotional creatures. And so when we're emotional creatures, we become emotional entrepreneurs. That's a normal thing, and it's okay. We want to be logical, but hey, at the core of who we are emotional creature because our brain survived through the emotion. Why? When you get hungry, you go out to eat. Imagine if you weren't hungry. So imagine if you're hungry and your brain didn't tell you to go out to eat, you'll probably be dead. You won't be here right now, sitting here listening to me talk about this. Your emotion of hunger is so strong that you go out of the cave to go find food knowing that the danger is there. Logically, your brain will be like, no, that's not a good idea. Don't go out there. You might get killed. But you go through that process. So our emotion does get us through situations when it needs to. So we can't be logical all the time. So we are emotional creatures. So just accept that. But for me, what's important is I want you guys to understand that don't base your internal self-worth from external results. If you're doing that, you're doing it all wrong. You've been doing it wrong your entire life. And we all doing wrong. I'm doing it wrong. Right? I'm doing it wrong too. So let me share a little quick story about, so when I started my business, I mentioned earlier how I did it, right? How I built, the mindset that I had. And the mindset I had was I just wanted to make sure that the people that I was working with succeed. That's all I focus on. I didn't focus on like generating like $1 million in revenue. I didn't think about that. And how I started practicing that was when I started reading books. And that's where meditation came in. That's when I started practicing reflection. That's when I started trying to be more focused on the present moment. And that's when I started focusing on taking action today and detaching myself from the outcome on a daily basis. And I put all my effort into that every single day. What can I do today? What can I do with the best of my ability? And so I want to share a little bit about what is necessary to practice detachment so that you can get more freedom in your life, to get more results in your life. And you know, the concept itself is rooted both in spiritual and philosophical teaching, and really trusting the process and being open to whatever comes your way. So let's talk a little bit about some of the practice of detachment that you can do daily. I do this every day. Honestly, I practice it every day. Number one, attach to the action, not the outcome. Focus on all the actions that you're going to take today. Never say that there's no action you can take. When you say no action, like I can't do anything. There's nothing I can do. I'm gonna be honest. If you got nothing else you can do, you can always pray. Like, please God, get me through this. That's the truth. If you have no action you can take, you can always pray. So there's no such thing as no action. But to make it simpler, you can call a friend. You can read, learn, skill, listen to podcasts, do something. Reach out. So for me, reaching out to a friend, asking for advice. What should I do? You don't have a job. Oh my God, there's nothing I can do. I don't have a job. Go out, go find a job. Some people make it so difficult. When they believe that there's nothing else they can do, they already given up. That's them saying, I gave up. So always be attached to the action. What are you going to do today? Always think about what action can I take? It could be the end of the day. You're tired, you're worn out. You don't want to jump on Amazon to do product research. I get it. But you just need to tell yourself, I just need to take 5 minutes. Go watch a video. Go see what's out there for 5 minutes. That's all you need to do. That's a very easy commitment there. When you learn how to commit to yourself, your words, your actions, that's training for yourself to be committed in the long term. And that's how you build success. So just remember, every situation has an action and be attached to the action, not the outcome. Number two, set intention, not attachment. Don't be attached to people, but set the intention with them. Like, hey, that's going to be my friend. I'm going to hang out with them, but I'm not going to be attached to how they think about me. We all think about, we always want people to like us. We always want people to think a certain way about us. So we watch what we say. We don't speak our mind. We don't share how we feel. Like, hey man, I don't really like what you said, or hey, I think you got too much drama. I'm not gonna hang out with you anymore. Yeah. So that's something that people do all the time. That's many people do this because they are attached to their friends in the wrong way. So set intention. Focus setting the right intention. How you want to feel, what you want to experience, rather than focusing so much on the specific outcome that you're trying to get. For example, like intend to be happy, intend to be calm, intend to be productive, rather having this specific goal like I'm gonna get this thing done. And if I don't get it done, what's next? I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. We're gonna go to this place. And then when you get there, you're like, oh, this place sucks. But before you even get there, you should set the intention like, hey, I'm just gonna have a good time regardless. Number three, I talked about this, release control over the others, right? Trying to control somebody else. Just, you got to be aware that you can't control anybody. Not even the people closest to you, your kids, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your business partner. You can't control anybody, your employees, your clients, the government, the president, you can't control them either. So stop trying to do that because you're trying to change them. And you know what? When they don't change, they don't meet your expectation or your desires, what happened? Get angry, stress you out. Like, oh my God, I can't believe this person is this way. Like they've been that way for the last 20 years of their life. That's not changing. The only thing you can do is focus on yourself. And that's just a tip for a better relationship, to a happier relationship. It's selfish of you to want to expect somebody else to do things your way. That's very selfish. That's you trying to say that, hey, you understand me. Understand me and act this way, right? Act this way because you understand me. And so that's going to be hard on any relationship. Number four, daily abundance meditation. And for me, what that means is I think about all the joyful things when I'm meditating. When I'm meditating, I think of all the happy things, the good things in my life. Gratitude meditation, abundance meditation. And when you're sitting in silence, just reflect on things that is good in your life, and that brings more joy and more abundance. And of course, letting go of the things you're trying to achieve, like that $1 million, like physical things. Letting go of that outcome that you've been trying to get. Like, just know that it will happen. Just keep reminding yourself that it will happen. It's not happened yet, but it will happen. Okay. Number five, important, reflect on your past attachment. And this is very important because you want to focus on being aware of what you've been doing on a repetitive, habitual basis, because we do this without thinking sometimes. And when we do things that we don't think about, it becomes automatic. And then next thing you know, you fall back into that same situation, that same environment, that same way of thinking. And spend time daily to reflect. Write in a journal, do your reflection during your meditation process, and think about what you're attaching, what kind of outcome you're trying to attach to. Who are you attaching yourself to? And think about how you would do it differently. Awareness will give you wisdom. That's really it. Reflection creates awareness. Awareness creates wisdom. And that's how you learn how to accept who you are as you flow through life. And then now you have the energy, the peace, the calmness, the confidence to take action in today. Because if you continue to doubt yourself because you're attached to this perfection outcome, but you're not perfect. So now you think you're not a perfect person. You're not worthy. You're a failure. You're not good enough. So now every action that you take, you're stressed out because you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to do this. It comes back. So always reflect. Number 6, practice patient and just allow things to happen sometime. If it happens, it's okay. And sometimes you gotta remind yourself that things takes time because patience allow you to detach from the immediate need for results and remain calm when things are unfolding naturally. It's hard, I get it. You know, being patient is very hard, but it's a practice. And for me, being patient is saying, hey, let's not buy this thing right now. That's how I practice it. I want this thing so bad, but let's not buy it right now. Let's just wait. Give yourself a time limit. Let's just wait a little bit. Let's wait. Like for my kids, how I practice with them is like they want a toy so bad. I remind them of the toy, but I said, hey, not yet. Let's wait a little bit. Let's see how we can earn it. And I just keep reminding them like, hey, let's wait a little bit. It's going to happen. And so you have to remind yourself that too as well. Of course, number 7, detach yourself from other people's opinion. That's probably one of the things that I think is very important is detaching from somebody else's opinion about you because that's external. You can't control their opinion. Your self-worth is attached to somebody else's opinion. Focus on not even your wife's opinion, not even your parents' opinion. Focus on your opinion. What do you think about yourself? Don't seek that external validation. That's very important. Number 8, let go of control. This is hard to practice, but the truth is if you follow God, if you're a Christian, honestly, any religious background or affiliation here, letting go of control is probably one of the biggest things that you've been practicing subconscious or subtly without realizing it, without being intentional. But I realize the more I lean into God, the more I realize it's the process of teaching you detachment. Because when there's a problem that happens, it's like, man, just pray to God and just, God, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, right? Just trust in that. And it's like, dude, I just detached from a worst case scenario here. Like somebody's suing me, right? Or I just got into a car accident. God, please help me get through this. I know things will work out. And that's like surrendering future uncertainty, letting go of control. And they don't tell you that because they didn't know how to word it. But we're practicing detachment every single day. Just let go of trying to control the future. Focus on what you can do in the moment because that's the best thing you can do. You can only take action in the moment. I don't have anything else, guys. That's really what I want to share.